How to draw the grumpy monkey. I'm going to start on my paper about right in the middle, and I'm going to be doing this kind of like top of a heart shape, but then the bottom is going to be underneath, and it's almost like a 3-leaf clover. We'll see. So go out. I don't want it to be too high because I know I have to have his arms stretching up. There's going to be a tree branch up here, so actually I'm going to put his head pretty generally in the middle. So I'm going to go out and back down, out and back down, and then I need to connect these two and make it a little bit less rounded, like that. Maybe it should come down a little more. And then I'll erase. So now I've got that shape. I'm gonna go and make a big oval around for his head that goes around his face. And then I'm gonna make the ears on the side, like that. Oh, that one's really big. To do the body, you make almost like 2 giant parentheses on either side of his head to make the big oval. And then I'm going to do the legs down here. So keep in mind the feet have to be somewhere here. So I'm going to come out and then in and do another one next to that. Out and then in here. So then out and then down and then in. Oh, I don't like how that came out either. Then you're going to do 2 kind of little C shapes here. Like after that, you can put the spirals in the ear if you want to add the details. We're also going to do the tree trunk or the tree branch at the top with his hands and his arms. So at the very top, draw kind of a wavy line and then draw another wavy line underneath that. Then you're going to draw his hand. So make sure it's kind of like above the eye. You draw 3 fingers. And then 3 fingers over here. That first one's a little bit. Oh, you know what? I don't like how I did that. That's kind of silly. Hold on. Okay. You go out and in, out and in, out and in. Back again. Like that. And then the arms going down right above his eye. So go down like this and down like this. Make sure the arms are not any wider than the hand, because that one looks a little too wide on the arm. So usually your arm gets like a little bit wider going down. All right, so let's outline that. Now we've got to do his face and the ear spiral. So I'm just starting towards the head, go out and spiral out. From here, go out and spiral in. And then make sure this is outlined. Let's do his face. So right across here, we're going to draw a line that cannot be touching this. It has to be a little bit lower, like that. Then take a line a little bit to the left of the point, and you're going to go down and up. You may want to do this really lightly like I just did. I don't know if you can see it very much, but just to get the shape right. Then go a little bit to the side, down, and then up. Okay, and you may want to fix it a little bit if you need to, like I am. Okay, then he's got 2 little kind of like eyebrow frowns right there. 2 little holes for his nostrils. And then his mouth goes from one side to the other. Now this is really showing me how crookedly I drew that part of the face. I'm going to try to fix it a little bit before I do the mouth. I know it looks like a mess, so bear with me. All right, let's do it from here, here, like that. Okay. Oh, but it's a lot lower. I'm so confused. Sorry, I'm just looking at the picture. All right, that's better. Let me erase this. And then the line's going to go a little bit up from here to about there and then back down. And then his eyes go in the center, and they're halfway down, so it's a half circle. They're not totally showing, and there's a white dot in the center. So you're gonna color that part in. Leave a little white dot. It's like a shine or a reflection. Like that. I got a little stray mark I want to fix. And then the same on the other side. In the center. Try to match the size and the placement. A little white dot. And then color that in. Okay, I'm going to go back over this line so I can see it well. Go out a little bit to the sides. All right, so I've got all the drawing parts done. So if I want to, I can go back over this with crayon, with Sharpie, and then erase, or oil pastel. I think for mine, I'm going to do oil pastel. One of the things that happens often with oil pastel is smudging your paper. So you have to be really careful not to do that. So I'm actually going to go from the top down so that I don't go back over and smudge my paper. Because of that, I think I'm going to add my leaves first. So that if I smudge anything, maybe it's the leaves. So to do my leaves, I'm just going to go out from an area of his body and then connect up and back down, and then add a couple of lines going out. I'm going to add quite a few all over. I'm going to use different colors of green oil pastel all around the paper. If you wanted to do this with crayon, that would be totally fine too. When I paint the background, these are going to stand out. So I'm just going to do all of my leaves this way. I also want to fix, before I move any further, I want to fix some of these stray lines that I had on my monkey. Even though I'm going to paint over them, I just want it to be nice and cleaned up. Filled the background with all my leaf shapes and lines using overlapping. If you need help with this, let me just do a little scrap for you. The leaf shape is just a line going up, coming back, and coming back like an oval. And then depending on the direction of the leaf, it can go with two lines going up like a V, or could be going down like this. If you're overlapping your leaf, you do the middle line first, connect it back, and then do your lines out. Or if it's in between, you just connect two kind of curved lines from one leaf to the other, do a line in the middle, and do like your little V, and that'll pass for your leaf. Okay, so now I'm going to outline my monkey and the tree with black oil pastel. I really like the texture that this gives it. It's different from Sharpie. It's really similar to crayon. It's just a lot darker and bolder. So if you don't have oil pastel, you could do this step in crayon. The only thing is you want to make sure you do this step in crayon only if you have watercolor to paint the background. If you don't have watercolor to paint the background and you plan on using marker, then you can't do these steps in this order. You would have to do the marker background first, then draw the leaves. So maybe draw the leaves in pencil, color with marker, then go back over with the crayons to outline. Because if you ever go over crayon with marker, it can mess up your marker. Same with Sharpie. You can't go over crayon or oil pastel with a marker or Sharpie because it will mess up your tip of your marker. So here I'm just doing the texture. I did his fur and his hair. try to make it kind of messy looking. And then I did the texture of the tree branch. So I think those are really important. And then I forgot to do the texture of the arms here, but I did go back and do it afterward. So don't skip that step. You'll see that I do it later. And then forgot to erase that line in the eyes. So try to do all your erasing before you do any oil pastel or crayon, because it's really difficult to erase without smudging those things. And also keep in mind that oil pastel is super smudgy as it is, so you have to be so careful not to touch it with your hand or arm while you're working. So now I'm just painting in the different colors. I mixed some orange together in that burnt umber color because I was trying to get the same colors as the artist uses on the book cover. However, you can really do your monkey however you want to. You can try it this way, but since you're going to be using a different color palette, most likely, you can be creative with how you do the colors. So you don't have to copy mine exactly by any means. And I'm just copying the artist, so really, you don't have to copy the artists by any means. But please notice that the face color in the ears and the fur color are different. So they're not all the same color, and that's really important. It's also really important that his hands and his wrists or arms are a different color from the tree branch. Since the monkey is brown and the tree branch is also brown, I added some black to kind of change the tone of the tree branch. And then I also added some black into the brown after you'll see this to give it a shadow. So now I'm experimenting with the colors on the side, and I really didn't love how they were coming out. They were just coming out so dull and gray. Most of the palettes you guys have for paints will be really bright, so you shouldn't have these problems. But I was kind of experimenting with the colors and mixing blues and yellows to get some greens and turquoises. So you just kind of have fun with that. Just add little dots of color around your paper, blend them, just fill in all the white spaces. That's #1 priority. Also notice I did leave some of the areas above his hair, or like around his hair, empty, and I filled it in with the green, so it looks like it's sticking up over his head. So it kind of gives it that messier look. So here I'm just filling in the background with yellows and greens and blues, and notice the paper is really soggy on the left where it absorbs the paint water. That makes it a little more gray. So when it dried, it was like a tiny bit brighter, but it's not so bright. So I think that you guys will have better luck with your bright colors in the background with your paints. So here I'm going to first add water onto the tree branch so that my paint spreads. I added a little bit of diluted black and mixed it into the brown to give it a different tone than the brown in his face or arms or hands. Then I added some more black, just very lightly, to give it a little shadow around his hands and then a little bit of shadow at the bottom of the branch to make it look more 3D. And then I kind of blended it up. The blending helps it look more gradual and round. I noticed on the original that there's some gray in the monkey's ears and face, so I just kind of tried to copy that with my gray oil pastel once the watercolor was dry. And that's pretty much it. I really love how cute it turned out. I hope you guys have a great time doing this, and I can't wait to see your work.